September the 18th, 2023. Guys, you're looking at some information that I've been watching for about a month now. And this is called BMO, or Bank of Montreal. They came into the U.S. last year, or early this year maybe it was, and they wanted to buy Bank of the West. I think that's what it's called, out in Colorado and many other places. At first, regulators said they were too big. They didn't want someone this big coming out of Canada and having that much reach into the U.S. But anyway, they eventually did buy it this year. Now, this article says Canada's BMO to close indirect retail auto finance businesses. It flags job losses because of that. Guys, the inflation has gotten so bad and the loss of jobs has gotten so bad that the repos on cars have become almost unbelievable. It's going to move from the cars to the homes very quickly. And they all have FEMA 15-minute cities ready for you if you need one. But they're going to take everything you got. And we've heard this before, right? Get your house payments and insurance up with the inflation rising. Get your car payment and insurance, or truck payment insurance up, which average now is about $1,500 on new vehicles that have been recently financed. It's almost as much as a lot of people's house payment, if not more. But what has happened, and this is the third largest bank in Canada, the sixth largest bank in North America. Now, again, at first they didn't want them in the U.S. And if you think about it, you're really dealing with more than likely the Bank of England here that's now here in the U.S. But on the 17th, it says the Bank of Montreal is winding down its indirect retail auto finance business and shifting focus to other areas in a move that will result in an unspecified number of job losses. Canada's third largest bank said, again, sixth largest in North America. The bank, which announced the move on Saturday, has conducted this business in Canada and the United States. The move comes after BMO's overall bad debt provisions rose to 492 million Canadian dollars. See the C there? Compared with 136 million Canadian dollars a year ago. Think of that, from 136 million to now bad debt provisions are having to put up because of the loans, 492 million. For the quarter ending July 31st, in a sign of growing stress consumers face from a rapid rise in borrowing cost. I've said since day one, when they started raising interest rates under the present administration, that it doesn't make any sense. How is raising interest rates going to stop inflation? Inflation was not the problem. Interest rates now are the problem. But it was to put everything out of reach for the middle America. There will be elites that think they're going to make it, but every island will be moved before this is said and done. Now, under the indirect retail auto finance business, the banks work with car dealerships to arrange financing for buyers who make monthly payments to the lender. By winding down the indirect retail finance business, we have the ability to focus our resources on areas where we believe our competitive positioning is strongest. The bank is working closely with employees who will be affected by job cuts to provide support. Now, what they're saying is they're getting off a sinking ship and they're going to try to find as many that are still afloat as possible. Now, in a letter sent to the car dealers, the head of business, Paul Hunsley, said the termination of the dealer agreement would be effective on September 15th, but the bank would fund all contracts submitted and approved prior to the date. At the end of July, BMO's consumer installment and other personal loan portfolio stood at 104 billion Canadian dollars and included 57 billion Canadian dollars in home equity loans. Cars now, homes later. Get ready for the FEMA 15-minute cities, I'm telling you. The remaining loans in this portfolio are primarily auto loans, but also include other loans, including loans for boats, RVs, motorcycles. The Bank of Canada's data has shown that delinquency rate for vehicle loans are now higher than they were before the pandemic. Of course they are, highlighting the strain on consumers' wallets as they also struggle to repay their mortgages in a high interest rate environment. Guys, they've stopped letting people pay their mortgages using their credit card. In other words, borrowing more money. They done cycle through that ability. It says a rapid rise in interest rates is slowing the Canadian economy, and banks are setting aside more funds to deal with an unexpected pickup in bad loans. BMO has been turning to the U.S. for new avenues of growth as markets remain saturated in Canada, spending $16.3 billion to acquire the Bank of the West this year and expand into 32 U.S. states in the western U.S., including California. The U.S. now accounts for more than 1/3 of BMO's overall profits. Now, this is a huge bank. You say, well, they're not here. It's 32 states, but they're not in our area. But guys, you would be surprised how far the tentacles of the Bank of England have traveled. Let me show you something. Now, this is BMO's branch and ATM locator. I wanted to go here and just see where they were, and it was already set here at Indianapolis, Indiana, and you can switch it from branches, and you've got, 17, 18, 20, 22 branches in Indianapolis of the bank. Click on ATMs. The number goes, here's 47. I haven't counted them all up, 49 here. But that's the ATMs. Well, that's a big city. But guys, they're everywhere. I'm going to show you a small city here in central Mississippi south of us. And it's not a big city at all, but they already have 3 of the ATMs there. It's all the way to Gulfport. It's in 32 states, in almost every town. There's none in our town, but there's some within 10 minutes already set up and being used, and it's the major players. If you look at this while we're in Indianapolis, you got Plaza, Kroger, CVS, Speedway, Metro Restaurants and Nightclub, Walgreens, CVS, Circle K's. Everywhere there's a Circle K, just about in the U.S., there is a BMO ATM. Speedway, Kroger, Circle K again, more Speedway, CVS's, on and on. Go-to, whatever that is, just the major players, Kroger, CVS, Walgreens, Circle K. The tentacles are everywhere. The reason I've been watching them is they're moving very quickly to the new digital system. They may be leading the effort. You can already sign up for all of that on their websites. But that's going to lead to complete control, guys. Controls from the Bank of England. It's what we're looking at. Now, just for an example, this is central Mississippi. You wouldn't think they would be that far, but it's down south of us. You've got 3 in the McGee, Mississippi area. You're dealing with Circle K's again and Walgreens. ATMs are there. That ability to control payments is, again, far and wide, and it could come within a sweeping push of a button. And you just back out of here. These are small towns, guys, very, very small towns. And you can go to just about any town in the nation. Check yours. Come up here, take a look at that, put your information in there, and see how big these players are. Now, one of the things I want you to maybe take notes of, I'm going to give you some facts and figures, and you can use these if you're trying to talk to people about maybe it's not a good time to buy a new home or buy a new car. It's time to buckle down, circle the wagons. But here are some of the numbers, and this has a lot to do with why BMO and that group are getting out of the auto loan industry. Now, you may want to write this down. It's kind of startling in a way, and maybe it'll wake some people up. Right now, 20,000 automobiles are repoed per day. Per day, 20,000. Someone want to do the math on that per week, per month, per year? Per day. It says they're right now with the situation with the home loans and things like that, and the mortgages and the foreclosures, 2/3 of the population could be forced into FEMA camps, 15-minute cities, or homelessness. 1 out of 3 cars in the U.S. are 30 days late. 1 out of 7 are 90 days late. Think of those numbers. I don't know exactly how many vehicles we have here in the U.S. There's plenty if you've ever been in a traffic jam. But gas, some are expecting to be $10 a gallon by this Thanksgiving. They don't want you to have anything. By February the 1st of 2024, what is that, 4 or 5 months away? It could be $20 a gallon. Again, you're going from $10 to $20 a gallon on gas. Who can afford that? Now, if you're close to a local store or something, I have a suggestion that I did. Get you an electric golf cart. Get you one you can rebuild or get cheap. You may have to replace the batteries, but in the long run, it will pay off. And I'll tell you why. Because mine that I got, and we got it running good, will do 30 miles on a round trip. I'm 3 miles or 4 miles from the local grocery store here if they have anything, and a few other places. You know what I mean? I can make a 30-mile round trip on one charge, and mine runs about 25 miles an hour. And I got it year before last when gas started going up so high and diesel started going up. And remember, we were talking about the 18-wheelers were not going to have enough diesel, the farm tractors and all that. That's when I made that move. And guys, something like that compared to buying a Tesla that is going to put you in the hole unless you pay cash. Don't buy anything new unless you have cash. Don't finance anything because you're going to lose it. That's the plan. That's their plan. And again, just someone do the math for me in the comments. Give somebody something to do. Some of you guys. Put in 20,000 repoed vehicles per day now in the U.S. Go out of what we're dealing with, 140,000 per week, maybe, something like that. And stretch that out over a month and a year. And take a look at how, and this is now. It's going to be worse. In a month, it could be 25 or 30,000 because, again, 1 out of 3 cars are 30 days late. 33% of the vehicles in this nation that have loans on them. My old Tahoe's been paid for a long time, and I'm glad of it. 1 out of 7 cars are 90 days late. Guys, this is repo territory, and now people can't do what they were doing for the last few months, and that is, again, pay your rent, car notes, bills with your credit card. The banks aren't going for it anymore. Now, if it's a debit card, that's one thing because you got that money in the bank now. But I would definitely suggest everything that's not like an automatic withdrawal insurance or something like that, put it in your pocket. Start doing something with it because they plan on that being gone and complete control on everything that we do. We're watching this, guys. Somebody put those numbers in there. Include in the numbers what you think 1 out of 3 cars that are 30 days late. How many you think that might be? 1 out of 7, 90 days late. So 1 out of 7 cars are about to be, and vehicles are about to be repoed. That's where the 20,000 a day is coming from, but that's going to escalate every 30 days. We're in trouble, my friends. Keep an eye on it. We're watching it. It's a heads up. Be safe.